gentlemen, we are live. It's time.
I hope you all had a wonderful new year, ladies and gentlemen. We are now live. It is Tuesday, January the 6th, 2025. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is another live edition of the Raw Rundown here on the Around the Point Network YouTube channel. We're also live over on Twitch and we're also live over on Kick. What is going on, everyone? This is the first show here on the channel of the new year, the first show of 2026. I hope all of you once again are having a good one. I hope all of you had a wonderful New Year's Eve. I hope you celebrated, safely. I hope all of you drank responsibly. Okay, I hope all you did. Speaking of which, how was your New Year's, huh? How was it? I can't hear you, but I hope it was a good one. I hope you welcome 2026 with nothing but positivity and all that fun stuff. I hope you did. I hope you guys accomplish whatever you want to accomplish in 2026. Okay, make it your year. And so far, the last couple of days, 2026, I must say, has been very crazy, hasn't it? In the world that we live in, it's been very, very crazy. But be that as it may, let's get into this. Now, I did watch Wrestle Kingdom 20. Overall, I thought the show, for the most part, look, for the matches that I wanted to see, um, I enjoyed myself for the most part, Um, it's Venom. Hey, Steve. Unfortunately, I got sick yesterday, so that's how I'm starting 2026. LOL. I hope you get better, bro. I hope you get better. Get some soup. Drink some tea. Ginger tea, I would recommend. I don't know if you're allergic to any type of ingredient or anything like that, but if tea is your thing, ginger tea, bro. That will just get you back and running by the next day. What's going on, Safet? But yeah, I did watch Wrestle Kingdom. I'll be honest, I was only looking forward to 3 matches on the show. That being obviously the title for title match between Yota Tsuji and Konosuke Takeshita. The main event of Okada and Tanahashi, and this Aaron Wolf guy who I've been hearing about for a minute. Okay. I know Aaron Wolf was this Olympic gold medalist in 2020 in judo in Japan, and he wanted to pursue wrestling. This was his debut match, right? Against Evil of all fucking people. And you know what? For the most part, I'll say, the guy didn't embarrass himself. That's the thing too. You like if you're Japan, if you're New Japan, you want Aaron Wolf to be the next big thing. Like you want him to be your Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist, right? So much promise. And the last thing you wanted to have was him being a flop out there. And I thought for the most part, he looked impressive. I don't know about him cutting his hair and just changing his look at the last minute, but I get it. Hey, it's your first match as a wrestler. You want to pay, I guess, an homage to all the young boys there, all the young lions. So that was fine. But hey, he got the win. I thought Takeshita and Yota Tsuji was a very, very fun match. I liked that ending there where both guys, uh, um, what's it called? They're both near the end, like both of them were about to go for like their last like strong shot, right? Yota Tsuji with the fucking hell, with the spear, right? And Takeshita with his flat with his knee, and who was gonna get the final blow. And obviously, I did enjoy also the near falls. There was that one spot where Takeshita does like the avalanche, blue thunder off the top rope to the floor. And I think what's good about this again, going into this, Takeshita, let's be honest here. He's a man with 3 contracts, right? 3-contract Takeshita, right? And yes, I would have done without him doing the shit he did in DDT the night before, whatever it was. But I get it. I understand, right? I understand that's his shtick. DDT was his first home, so he's always going to show love to DDT. I can do without the silly bullshit. That's just me. But hey, I get it, bro. That's Takeshi's home, right? That's the promotion that gave him his start in the business, right? But for Yota Tsuji, hey man, he wanted to bring back the V4 title, which I think the belt that everyone's in love with, right? For a lot of people, that is like the number one, most gorgeous looking wrestling belt as far as design goes, right? Some people will say number 2 is the AEW World Championship. I can understand, right? But nevertheless, Yota Tsuji is now the double champion. He is the IWGP World Champion, and he's also the Global Champion. I'll be honest, I am not a fan of people being attacked after a match, especially on your biggest show of the year. Like Wrestle Kingdom, for those of you who have been living under a rock for all these years and are not aware of what is Wrestle Kingdom, Steve, what are you talking about? I'm glad you asked. Wrestle Kingdom is New Japan Pro Wrestling's WrestleMania, right? Their biggest show of the year, every January 4th at the Tokyo Dome, right? And this was a big moment for Yota Tsuji. He gets this win. Can we all agree? Night and day, as far as the world title match from this year and last year's, completely night and day. Completely is night and day. But I'm happy for Yota Tsuji. I just wasn't down with him getting attacked by fucking Jake Lee, who I guess wrestled in early on in the card. And when I heard about Jake Lee, and again, you're talking to someone who, isn't really familiar with New Japan like that. Like if you give me a pop quiz on New Japan right now, chances are I am not going to pass. And if I am going to pass, it'll probably be with a C. Okay. But I saw this Aaron Wolf guy show up and attack Yota Tsuji. And I'm like,
who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
And I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? Right? Why is he being attacked after this, during his moment, right? But then again, it's similar to when Kenta attacked, freaking hell, Tetsuya Naito in 2020. It's kind of similar, right? But be that as it may, I'm happy for Yota Tsuji. Finally got his moment, right? Steve Aoki, bro, is a champion. I'm telling y'all, man. Steve Aoki is finally a champion in wrestling. I'm kidding. All right, chillax. And then obviously the main event, Okada and Tanahashi. That is the reason why this show sold out in the Tokyo Dome. They broke a record, I believe, since 1998 when Antonio Inoki retired, right? And look, they played the hits. And again, it was Tanahashi's big send-off, his final match. I know there's a lot of people out there, and I'm sure you guys have heard this on the internet, regarding Shinsuke Nakamura. Because for a lot of people, and I think also for Tanahashi, he wanted to wrestle. I guess Nakamura, and Nakamura was on board. But I know there's a lot of people out there who were upset about that, and I get it. Now, I believe the reason behind it, and I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, WWE, being so fucked up. How dare they not allow him? I think the reality is people forget that New Japan Pro Wrestling is partnered with CMLL. And CMLL, I don't know how many of you know about this, but they have this ridiculous political war against AAA, which just so happens to be owned by WWE. So Tanahashi in New Japan, they were looking looking out for the interests of their partners and not ruin that relationship, which I think is silly at the end of the day. But it is what, because remember, FTR many years ago showed up with the AAA tag titles in New Japan. So I don't really understand. But the point is, though, I know there's a lot of people who wanted to see Nakamura. I know that Takeshita paid homage to Nakamura, like he wore his like red bandana on his arm during the match. So there was that too. And they did also a lot of callbacks. Like, oh my goodness. Tanahashi did a Bomaye, which we all know. I'm sure a lot of you, the WWE fans, know as the Kinshasa, right? And again, nevertheless, at the end of the match, you knew that going in, right? With Takeshita losing, I kind of had the feeling, okay, they're gonna have an AEW guy go over here, and in this case, let it be Okada. Let it be Okada. And at the beginning of the match, we saw like AEW Okada, and then eventually he brought out New Japan Okada, the one that everyone loved, the one that everyone revered, right? And he got the win. And after the match, mostly everyone and their mother came out to show respect to Tanahashi. You had Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega show up. You had Tetsuya Naito show up. You had Katsuyori Shibata, and he had like a chop off with Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, Jay White. They brought out Antonio, and they not Antonio Inoki, what the fuck? They brought out the Great Muta. And Tatsumi Fujinami. If I'm saying the name wrong, I apologize, okay? And again, Tanahashi, I will say this, as far as a ceremony, all that stuff, I enjoyed it. I even enjoyed the freaking float they had Tanahashi ride into, right? Throughout the entire Tokyo Dome. I thought that was pretty cool. Reading some comments here again, guys. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. If you want your comment read right away, you can do so by becoming a channel member. It's only $2.99 a month. Also, I will be doing the cooking video, if not this weekend, next week. So keep your eyes peeled when that first cooking video drops on the channel. Okay. Reading some comments. Naito was there. Yes, he was. Naito was there. Siri and Sakaya, I apologize if I'm butchering the name. Kamitani title for title match was also great. I suppose so. Again, I'm not familiar with the Joshi stuff. I'm not going to be the foreign fan who pretends that he knows all these Joshi wrestlers. That's not what I do. Okay. Respectfully. They needed to set up the drama to keep the new people coming back. Let's see here. Aaron Wolf versus Evil was a great match. It was fine for the most part. He looked impressive. I didn't know who Aaron Wolf was until his name was trending on Twitter. Yeah, at first I'm like, who? And then I had to see, and it was his debut match as well. I don't know if I'm just cooked because I stayed up for Wrestle Kingdom 20. Was Raw really that boring? I mean, they did a themed show, right? On, the Stranger Things, and they dropped the ball, I must say, which we'll get into in a little bit here. Okay. And I do want to, because there was not a Steve's Kitchen. This is why I'm kind of giving you guys this little like Spark Notes version of what could have been Steve's Kitchen yesterday, right now here on the show. I did watch SmackDown for the most part. Oh, by the way, before I go any further, Andrade was involved in a 8-man tag at Wrestle Kingdom. Man, did he phone it in. I don't know how many of you guys peeped or not, but Andrade literally showed up, stood on the apron, phoned it in, right? Just phoned it the fuck in, right? And didn't do jack shit in this match. My guy, good for him, bro. But honestly, I'm happy for Andrade. He's, actually going out there wrestling again. He should be back in AEW soon. So we'll see how that goes. But I did watch part of SmackDown. I did enjoy the Carmelo Hayes and Johnny Gargano match. I thought it was a very, very good match. I think it's cool that we're finally, showing or showcasing Carmelo Hayes, even though it took a while, right? He was the first round draft pick, and now here he is putting on these like cool matches. And again, you're wrestling someone like Gargano, who is someone that is not going to give you a bad match. And he made Carmelo Hayes look like $1,000,000. What else can you ask for? Also, they announced that it will be a 3 stages of hell match coming up this Friday on SmackDown between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. The first fall will be a wrestling match. The second fall will be a falls count anywhere, I guess, or a street fight, whatever you want to call it. And in the event of a third fall, which, spoiler, is going to happen, it will be a steel cage match. That's what's going down, right? It should be a good match. I'll be honest, I would love to see Drew win. I just don't see it happening for whatever reason. They also showcased some NXT talent on the show. Trick Williams made his debut on SmackDown. Cut a promo on the mic with Sami Zayn, and I thought that honestly, Trick Williams looked like a star on his first night on the main roster. Looked like a star. Like he belongs. And again, feuding, getting in there with Sami Zayn, it's not a bad first star program on the main roster. I know Sami's once again on this whole campaign of, going after the world title in 2026. He needs to be champion and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. We'll see. But I think if we heal him up, maybe it'll work. If I'm missing anything, also Jordan Grace was backstage as well in multiple segments, right? With Chelsea Green, with Jade Cargill, right? And I think it's cool. Honestly, I would put her on SmackDown. Why the fuck not? Put her on SmackDown. I also know there's news regarding Tommaso Ciampa. I know the word going around, this is per bodyslam.net, that his contract is set to expire and he's not going to be renewing. Which, look, I know for some people out there, Tommaso Ciampa, look, I'll say this, right? Black and gold, Tommaso Ciampa was the man. NXT Black and Gold, Tommaso Ciampa was the best. Probably the top heel of that in the company at the time, right? That being said, the guy, let's be honest here, has had history of neck injuries and stuff like that. Could it be a possibility that, hey, he may want to just step away, get, recovered and all that stuff, and then maybe come back? But at the same time, like, let's be honest, is Tommaso Ciampa, is he going to be a world champion anytime soon on the main roster? No. Right? If he's going to go elsewhere, I know people want to say, oh, let me go to AEW, man. You better learn Don Callis' family. No, I think someone like him, I'll put him in TNA. I think him in TNA going to AMC would be a good place for him, in my opinion, of course, right? Also, speaking of TNA, we saw the return, of Zack Ryder, but now as Matt Cardona, as he faced off against Kit Wilson from Pretty Deadly, right? But now he's a singles guy, I guess, for now. But yeah, he showed up. They had Zack Ryder on the Titantron, and then they changed to Matt Cardona, right? To Matt Cardona. And for the most part, look, I'm happy to see him back. I am happy that he is finally, fulfilling his dream, right? Here's a guy who was signed in his 20s, right? Many, many years ago, right? Did whatever he could to get himself over, and he did. He made it work, right? He was one of the first guys to do a YouTube series as far as wrestlers go, right? Like, granted, today you see BTE and all that stuff, but before BTE, it was the true Long Island Stories, right? And he got himself over, right? They gave him the U.S. title. He was the Intercontinental Champion. He was the Tag Team Champion. And then they let him go, right? And in that time period, dude reinvented himself. I'll never forget the match he had with Nick Gage at that GCW show in his first death match, when he became the Death Match King. I remember saying it when it happened. Like, yo, he did not have to do that. He was above all that shit. But for the love of the game, he went out there and literally literally, he was better off for it, And I happen to have caught Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, whatever you want to call him, at a couple of indie shows throughout the time that he was away from WWE. So I was able to be at some of those shows and see what he was able to do. But I'm happy for the guy. Now, is he going to come out here now and be a world champion? Time will tell. Honestly, though, I don't think so. I think, really, to be honest, his spot right now is putting the young guys over. He'll get a good match here and there, maybe, just maybe, a U.S. title. But as far as world champion, time will tell. Honestly, I pair him off with his wife. I would pair him off with his wife. Make them a group. Him, you can probably have in there Ethan Page as well. I'll be down for that, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm happy for the guy. I'm very, very genuinely happy for Matt Cardona finally being back. Also, Randy Orton showed up and he RKO'd The Miz. So there was SmackDown as a whole. I'll be watching SmackDown early because they're in Berlin and they'll be taped for the US on the USA Network. Yeah. If you got a VPN, guys, make sure you watch SmackDown at whatever time it's on. Universal, the only reason Jordynne Grace is there is that Jade hurt Michin on the holiday tour, and they needed for her to fill her spot. I disagree. The reality is this. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but SmackDown is now a 3-hour show. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, SmackDown, ladies and gentlemen, is now a 3-hour show.
Fuck!
Yeah. So do you need to add in new faces to the program? You need to get new people over. And I think bringing in someone like a Trick Williams, bringing in someone like a Jordynne Grace, you already have, Lash Legend. And I'm not saying she's anything extraordinary here, but hey, you're bringing in new faces. And that's what you need to do right now, right? At a time when, hey, this show is now 3 hours for the time being, whatever it may be. And look, seeing those 3-hour shows is at times brutal. Last Friday, it was all right. Okay, it was fine for the most part. So, and yes, by default, Safed, I agree. SmackDown last Friday was a better show than Raw last night. I'll give you that. But let's be honest, those 3-hour SmackDowns are not always going to be home runs. Prepare yourself for the snooze fest SmackDown. They're coming. They're coming. They're changing. Looking back at they're changing. They're looking to change it back to 2 hours if the rating don't increase. I mean, brother, if that was the case, USA Network years ago would have made them go back to 2 hours. Monday Night Raw. The reason why they were 3 hours because USA paid the money for it. So we'll see how it goes. But that being said, that was my little stuff that I wanted to talk about real quick before I get into Raw. Oh, one more thing, guys. I did catch on New Year's that Mercedes Moné lost her TBS title on Dynamite in the main event against Willow Nightingale. And look, congrats for Willow Nightingale. I'll be honest, though. This is just me. If you knew that she was going to win this title eventually, why are we having her be tag team champion? That's just me. Okay. That being said, I said this a while back, Mercedes right now is on this downfall, right? So real soon she has to lose all those, all those indie belts. Those what do you call those? The make believe title belts there. You know what I mean? The Mickey Mouse belts. You have to drop those titles. And if you're Tony, the last thing you want to have is Mercedes go to all these indie shows, with the TBS title and losing. So it's best, hey, have her drop that belt now so that now she can go and drop all those rinky-dink belts. And then after that, you know what? let her eventually win the women's championship in AEW. I'd say honestly in London, but we'll see. Calvin writes here, they're really screwing up Austin Theory storyline. He should have been given more time than Logan. Triple H clearly doesn't like him. I don't think, I mean, let's be honest. If that was the case, he would have been gone by now. He would have been gone. Put it this way. Grayson Waller wishes he was in the spot of Austin Theory right now. Put it that way. But I don't think it's like a dislike. Let's be honest here, bro. He's with the Maverick. My guy, the Maverick, man. Come on. Show some love for the Maverick, yo. At the end of the day, you know, look, anyone who's paired up with Logan Paul, that's a privilege, man. You're in the eyes of greatness, man. Come on. No Maverick shaming here, pals, okay? I'm kidding. But let's get into Monday Night Raw. Yeah, there you go. I gave you guys a quick little rundown of the stuff that happened. What could have been on Steve's Kitchen. Now let's get into Monday Night Raw. Raw last night was live from Brooklyn, New York, the Barclays Center. I've been to that building numerous times. For wrestling shows. Nice building. I just hate the commute over there. As someone who lives in Jersey, I hate the commute to the Barclays Center. I fucking hate it. Especially when they go longer and then you gotta rush back to that train. It's fucking brutal. But the point is, this was supposed to be the anniversary Monday Night Raw. A year to this day, well, almost to the day of them being on Netflix. Now, you guys remember that first Raw on Netflix a year ago, right? They literally went balls to the wall. So this year, they decided to partner up with Stranger Things. Now, I don't know how many of you have watched Stranger Things. Maybe you've watched seasons 1 through 5, or maybe you're one of those, hey, you stop watching after season 2. You stop watching, right? But you see it all through your advertisements and all that stuff. So it's like, whatever, right? Each episode is like an hour long, hour and a half, right? So they decided to partner up, and they wanted their fans to wear Stranger Things, apparel. I know there's a Stranger Things and WWE collab on WWE Shop. They turned the Barclays Center into the Upside Down world. That being said, this show, I'm going to be honest, for all I just mentioned, right? And then you hear that, oh, we're gonna have this main event of CM Punk and Braun Breaker. We're gonna have, at the Barclays Center, right? The first show of the year. You think, they're gonna go guns blazing, man. Okay, now we're cooking, right? Now we're cooking. And then you hear the word, Chris Jericho. Why didn't I mention this earlier, but I'll mention this now, who was officially a free agent. Officially now a free agent, right? As of January 1st. He's officially a free agent, and people were under this idea that, Jericho's going to appear, right? I know Adam Pearce hyping up Raw on Sunday used the word break the walls down, and people were like, oh my God, it's happening. And you're watching the show, and Jericho did not appear at all. Not only that, hear me out. This was a Stranger Things themed show. You're on Netflix. You mean to tell me you couldn't get one of the cast members on the show to sit in the front row? You mean to tell me Hopper, right? You mean to tell me that Will or Luke or Vecna or whoever, you mean to tell me they couldn't show up and sit in the front row for the camera shot, and then they can go about their fucking day backstage and shit like that? We couldn't do that? Not one? Like, what are we doing? The fuck is this? Chris Jericho is still signed with AEW until January 8th. Okay. Okay. But I don't know how y'all feel about that. But to me, hey, man, at least get someone from the show to be there, right? Or a backstage segment, something, right? But like I mentioned before, all the stuff, right? All this that I just mentioned, right? And I thought this show, I'll be honest, man, was kind of a letdown, in my opinion. It was a very, very letdown of a show, in my humble opinion. But we'll get into all that, guys. Give me your thoughts in the chat. What did you like from the show? What did you not like from the show? Let me know in the chat, okay? Let me know. We kicked the show off with the tag team title match between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against the Kabuki Warriors. I thought the match, for the most part, as far as like a opening match to a show, I thought it was very good. It's obvious all hell that Io Sky and Rhea are over as all hell. The match went about 16 minutes, and as you expect, we have new women's tag team champions. I thought it made sense. You want to kick off the new year with a bang, right? And what better way to crown new champions, especially for two people who are over as all hell with the crowd. For some people, they view Io Sky as the best women's wrestler right now. Some people will tell you it's Rhea Ripley. I have an Io, and then right behind her, I'll have Rhea. I'll put Rhea in there. Why not? But you have two of the most over women right now on that roster teaming up. This is like a dream team here, right? But yeah, it was a very great match. I enjoyed it for the most part, right? But obviously, when it was all said and done, we have new women's tag team champions, which I thought was cool to see. Good on them on this one. After this, we got Gunther, who came in for a promo after being told by Adam Pearce that he needs to keep it respectful, right? Keep it respectful. But Gunther was about to reinstate that John Cena tapped out like a bitch. Like he came out with the t-shirt, tapped out like a bitch, right? And AJ Styles confronted Gunther, right? And Gunther, and then he slapped Gunther, right? But he wanted to see if Gunther was going to do something back. Because you can talk all the shit, but when it comes down to it, what are you going to do about it, right? And Gunther did nothing. That's the part that pissed me off. Can I get it? You're setting up for a match. That's fine. But AJ slaps him. And then Gunther stares at AJ for like 30 seconds. They stare at each other for 30 seconds. Dead space, dead air. Do something. Like, ball up your fist, something, bro. Nothing, bro. Nothing, man. And then we find out backstage, right? Because Gunther was mad. Oh, this disrespect and this whatnot, right? And they made it official. So next week, Raw, when they're in Germany, for the first time ever, AJ Styles versus Gunther. By the way, special start time next Monday at 2 p.m. Live from Germany, 2 p.m. Now, I'll be honest with you. I would have had them wait for this match. Wait a little longer. That's just me. Unless this is a match that has no winner, it goes to like a no contest or disqualification, fine. But honestly, I would have these two guys go at it down the road. Maybe at a WrestleMania. Why the fuck not? But I just hope this match, Gunther's going to get a big reaction. Gunther's going to get that big ovation. I would have rather them save this for a later date, but I do think this ends like in a no contest, and we'll see where they go from there. From there we go on to, my God, my fucking goodness, the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree. This match, I'm going to tell you this right now. This fucking match between Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass. The fuck are you talking about? That shit stinks.
It sucked. It fucking sucked. The longer the match was going, I was disgusted. They literally dropped the ball with Maxine Dupree. Maxine Dupree, I don't know how many of you remember. I don't know how many of you remember this, but a couple of weeks back, right? They were playing these vignettes, right? Of her training at the dungeon. She's like the second coming of fucking Ken Shamrock out there with the fucking ankle lock, right? And you think, all right, when she hits TV, she's this new person. No, still the same gimpy girl, right? Dressing cute, right? No killer instinct, nothing, bruh. Nothing. All she does is apply that fucking ankle lock. And that is what cost her in this match. That is what cost her. This match sucked. I am glad. I am so fucking glad that Becky Lynch is once again the Women's Intercontinental Championship. They better not ever put a belt on Maxine Dupree ever again. We're done here. Let's move on. Let's move on here. Let's keep Maxine Dupree, honestly. And look, it's not that I hate, because I do not hate Maxine Dupree. I think she's a nice person. I'm sure she is. But when the bell rings and you're given this TV time, and at the same time, look, maybe this whole thing where, hey, they don't do house shows. So how the fuck do you know if you're getting good or not, right? And that's the thing. Like, yo, they're cutting these house shows, right? So how the fuck do you know if you're good or not, right? There's only so many times. There's only so many times that you can go to the dungeon where Natty's at and do the same drills on the mat, in the ring, time and time again. But you know you get better when the bell rings. That's how you know how you really get better. But that's just me. From there, let's move on, because, like, for real, let's continue this shit. We have the Usos yeet to celebrate their tag team title win. I'm happy that the Usos are once again tag team champion. I'm happy that Jey Uso found this place once again. Tag team guy, that's his place. There we go. Now we're talking, okay? Also on the show, I didn't mention this, but Adam Pearce came out to announce the newest signing to Monday Night Raw. The newest signing. Now, a lot of people at this point, I'm pretty sure, were expecting Chris Jericho, right? You were expecting to hear break the walls down, right? Nah. Instead, it's Javon Evans. Javon Evans is the newest member of the Raw roster. They played a video package for him, all that stuff. He signs his contract, and good for him. The guy deserves it. How old is he, real quick? I need to know. How old is Javon Evans? I need to know real quick. How old is this? Bruh, he's only 21 years old. He's only 21 years old. Not many 21-year-olds do you see on Monday Night Raw nowadays. Most kids, most 21-year-olds are still scratching and clawing on the independents, doing the WWE tryouts. This kid is on Monday Night Raw already. You'll love to see it. Dude's talented. Dude has potential to be something. And I hope they go through with it down the road. I hope they do. I don't want him to be the next R-Truth down the road. And what I mean with that is, I don't want to see years from now, right? Javon Evans in the company now for more than 12 years, and he's doing the R-Truth bits and skits and shit like that. Dude's, no disrespect, but dude's better than that. So time will tell how things progress with him. From there, we did see Stephanie McCurr. She appeared for a promo, and she was wearing a walking boot. She talked about, her beating, Raquel Rodriguez and Nikki Bella, how she wants everyone. She wants to face everyone. She's La Primera, but she's wearing the walking boot, right? And when you see this, you're like, okay, is she going to vacate this title, right? Did the injury bug strike again? And then out of nowhere, Raquel Rodriguez shows up and attacks her, lays her out. This shit went to commercial, and she attacked her backstage. Now, could it be that they're writing her off? It's very possible. It's a write-off, right, for her to get better, right? But time will tell. But I don't want this to be where, hey, she's going to drop the title or she has to relinquish the title. I'm good, okay? From there, we saw Liv Morgan versus Lyra Valkyria. You had Roxanne Perez and Bayley both at ringside. And I must say, you know, as far as that match goes, it was okay. Nothing to go crazy about. I will say, and not to come off like a simp here, but Liv Morgan, yo, last night, Liv Morgan, respectfully, okay? If you know, you know. But the match itself, it was okay. Liv Morgan did end up getting the win over Lyra Valkyria. So where do they go from here? Good question. You know, now that Io Sky and Rhea Ripley are women's tag team champions, maybe you can have Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez go for the tag titles, but we'll see. But nevertheless, good to see Liv Morgan get a win. From there, we see backstage Logan Paul and Austin Theory talking, say that they would keep an eye on Braun Breaker's title match tonight. And then we get the main event. We got the main event of the evening. CM Punk and Braun Breaker. Now, this was a match that was announced weeks ago. Before December, this match was announced, right? So after weeks and weeks, right, of waiting for this match, we finally get it. And here's my issue. And I don't know how many of you, when you watch your Raw, do you watch it on the US Netflix or you watch it on the international? But there were so many commercial ads and bullshit throughout this fucking match. Like, I get it. You got to pay your bills. I get that. But come on. This during this anticipated match that you've been hyping up for a while, we're putting in all these fucking ads. It's fucking ridiculous. These commercial ads, whatever you want to call it, it's fucking ridiculous. I feel bad if you watch on US Netflix and you're seeing this match and this is happening. I'd be pissed off too. Okay? Now, you wanted to know, can Braun Breaker rise to the occasion, right? Can he finally win the world title? I thought for the most part, look, he didn't look bad out there. He did not look bad out there. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of when, and obviously this leads to again, Punk winning because Punk did retain, right? There was run-ins involved. Theory showed up. Logan Paul showed up. Rey Mysterio showed up. Penta showed up. Dragon Lee showed up. There was a brawl over the outside, right? And this leads to CM Punk hitting a knee, countering the spear with a knee, and then he hits the GTS for the 1, 2, 3. But be that as it may, right? What's it called? What was I gonna say here? I didn't think Braun Breaker embarrassed himself. What this reminded me of, and I don't know how many of you remember this, but do y'all remember NXT 2.0? I know a lot of you want to forget that, right? Y'all want to forget the 2.0 era, and I get it. But for those of you that watched back in the day, you got to remember when Braun Breaker was on the rise and he first stepped up to face Tommaso Ciampa for the title and he lost? That's what it reminded me of. Like, come on. He's not going to win the belt right away. That's too easy. Even though, yes, and I agree, there was a botch there. There was a botch somewhere in the match where Braun went for the Hurricane Rana off, the jumping Hurricane Rana off to the top turnbuckle. And he, I guess, Punk didn't follow up. and Braun landed on his head. It looked scary, but he kept going, right? But what I'm trying to say is Braun Breaker at the end of the day did not embarrass himself. I thought he looked good out there. His time will come. Braun Breaker, when it's all said and done, he will be a multi-time world heavyweight champion in WWE. Braun Breaker is going to be main eventing multiple WrestleManias within the next 10 years. He'll be main eventing multiple WrestleManias. They have a star in him. They have a star. So at the end of the day, I'm proud of the guy. You know, it would have been nice to see him win, but I just know they were going to do it. The same thing goes for Drew McIntyre on Friday. It'll be nice to see him win, but I just don't see them doing it. That's what it just boils down to. I just don't see them doing it. Oh, by the way, real quick, speaking of Netflix, I don't know how many of you guys know. I don't know how many of you knew this or not, but obviously WWE programming is no longer on Peacock, unless it's NXT, but a lot of the video library is no longer on Peacock, and they're moving it to Netflix in the US. So that's cool, right? So that's going to be the home for all WWE PLEs, like the on-demand. But honestly, though, if you really want to get some good gems, like some of the old footage, and again, I don't know how many of you are into the old footage, go on the Vault. They got a lot of good stuff in there to watch on their Vault channel. But overall, look, Raw as a whole, I'll be honest with you, man.
I'm not feeling it.
I wasn't feeling it at all. Was not feeling it at all, right? Again, a lot of missed opportunities on the show. I would have had some members from Stranger Things be on the show, a backstage segment, something, man. They did nothing, man. They had chapters in between, right? But that was it. That was it. Like, come on, man. But outside of that, we had 2 title changes on the show and a main event that we're pretty sure down the road they're going to run it back. I know Roman right now is the favorite to win the Rumble, but if you want to shake things up, a number 2 favorite, I would say Braun Breaker. Okay. By the way, Netflix got all the WWE pay-per-view PLEs on there. I just mentioned that moments ago. I don't know if there's a delay, but you'll hear it eventually. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Yeah, this was the first video stream of the year. I'll be back Thursday for something about Dynamite as we review AEW Dynamite, the first Dynamite of 2026. We'll be talking about that. As far as the cooking video goes, I'm gonna start filming, if not this weekend, next week. All right. So when that happens, I'll give you guys more details. But the plan is to give you guys 2 cooking videos a month on the channel, 2 of them every single month. Okay, so that is the plan. All right, but I'll give you guys more details on it when I start uploading and shit like that. Okay. That being said, guys, much love to all of you. Follow me on X at Heel Steven. Follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. If you want to be a channel member, it's only $2.99 a month. Link down below. You get all these perks that you see right here. And remember, Raw next week is in Germany. Special start time 2 p.m. It will be AJ Styles and Gunther one-on-one, and we'll see where they go with that. Thank you all for watching. Much love to all of you. For myself, for the gang, for Hawkins, this has been the Raw Rundown here on the Around the Point Network. Peace out, y'all.